estate, I don't know how you're going to be set up for that success that you're looking for. Um, and it starts out with putting everything that you want on the table, and you have to make a decision about what you really want, what's important to you, and then planning all those things out, and then saying, okay, and after I do all of those wonderful things, I still have to do business, and I'm going to use this time that's left to really focus on my business, and this is how I'm going to be successful. So the plan is really, I love this plan. I love the fact that Jasmine pushes and promotes us to do it every year. I wasn't a fan of it, but it is spectacular. It helps you place yourself on a trajectory that if you really do it and you write it out and you're really serious about what you want and how you want to get there, what's important to you, it'll just come to you. Um, so I just want us to take this and just whatever's going on in our minds, hearts. I want us to meditate, put that off to the side for a minute, and really focus in on this. This is a very important training.
Well said, Mr. Porter. Thank you so much. One thing that I want to key in on really quickly before we start going through the plan is this first paragraph that says goals in terms of your keys to success. As you can see, 95% of your success is the reason why you're doing it in the first place. And we in the past have spent a lot of time talking about your why, and I want to revisit this as just a preface for everything that we're going to go through in our business plan. There have been some things that we've overcome in the past years. And like Mr. Porter said, there are going to be some things that we will overcome in the upcoming years. But the question is, why are you doing this in the first place? Why did you get into real estate? Why now? What are your goals? Is that for generational wealth? Is that for financial security? Is that for your retirement benefit? Is it so that you can show your children a better life? Is it to travel? Whatever that reason is, you want to make sure that you keep your why top of mind so that when these life events come up, they don't outweigh the reason that you're doing this in the first place. We want to make sure that we plan our time and our time blocks so that we can manage to continue to pursue everything that we look to accomplish in real estate, despite the circumstances that come up on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Okay. So that being said, we're going back to trainings on Thursday evening. So whether you attend virtual, which is excellent because no matter where you are, you will be able to attend, you'll be able to develop this skill that you need. So we're having multiple trainings on a weekly basis, and you guys will have the recording to go back and do that because we want to make sure that number one, you're competent, but number two, you're confident in order to move forward with all of your real estate goals, guys. And then number four is something that is you have to do. It's on you guys to take action. Okay. We're going to go through these business plans and I'm going to go through them with you one by one. So each one of us, we're going to have our one-on-one meetings, but after that meeting, it's all about you taking action, right? And implementing the plan that we're going to put in place. So that's why we want to make sure that you guys are very thoughtful in going through this in advance, considering your why, so you know that this is something that you're willing to commit to, okay? The next page, we went through very briefly last week on the wheel of life, but what I want to focus in on today for now is your visualization exercise for each of you before the 15th, because these are due on January 15th. Take 30 to 45 minutes and set aside without interruptions or distractions. You want to find a comfortable place so that you can sit, allow yourself to be straight, comfortable, and all those things. And you just want to envision what you want your life to look like in the next 5 years, okay? Just envision in each one of these different areas. As you can see on here, we talked about the spiritual, mental, family, financial, business, social, fund, contribution, as well as physical. Envision what you want your life to look like in each one of those areas, because it's essential that we have balanced lives, guys. So we are a real estate brokerage, but we're going to talk about a whole lot more than real estate because we want to make sure that each of us is healthy in the other areas of your life. Okay. In our one-on-ones, we'll focus on your business aspect, but I want for you guys to put in the time to make sure that you set those goals, considering where you are today. So as you see on here, there's everything from 0 to 100%, and know that it is very, it's to be expected that these various areas you're going to have different levels of achievements in, right? Because for some of them, you may already be 50% towards your goal. Some you're going to be 80%, some you'll be 20%, whatever that looks like for you, that's how you're going to start. Okay. This is a pie. 0 is the middle. The end is 100%. So you're going to shade in where you are beginning. And there is no shame in where you're starting, because this is your starting point so that you can measure your success. It is very essential to just be very realistic with yourself in terms of where you are, unashamedly, because that's how you're going to measure your growth in the years to come. Okay, guys? Does anybody have any questions about that before we move on to the next part? All right. 2021 recap. You're going to look at the number of days that you worked and the total days that you prospect. Some of you will have specifics for this, and others you're going to have a general reference for it. Do the best that you can, okay? If you don't know exactly the amount of days that you work, look at your weeks at a glance and say, okay, well, I probably work, 3 to 4 days that week, 5 to 6 days. Just do the best that you can on these. I want to make sure that you are encouraged to complete this, whether you have the specific number or not. And if you have to put a range, that's fine also. We just want to make sure that you complete it so that you have a starting point, okay? The number of listings sold, so forth and so on. Go through this and put down everything that is requested there to the best of your knowledge, okay? Don't leave it incomplete. Put it down to the best of your knowledge, all right? Then you want to make sure you add your ratios for the number of contacts. And this comes from the breaking down the numbers page that we did, where we talked about prospecting for an hour to an hour and a half per day. That's going to be 10 prospects. So that's what you should be able to accomplish within an hour. So that's where that comes from, the number of contacts that you were able to make in an hour. Some of you had much more than 10 contacts in an hour, some had less. But whatever that number is for you, put that realistic number, because that's going to be your launch pad, guys. Okay, put down each one of these numbers as requested. And I'm saying it on purpose. I'm saying it multiple times because I want you guys to be encouraged to know that it's okay, no matter what your numbers are. If your numbers were actually different than what you wanted them to be, it's okay. If you're not 100% certain what those numbers are and you have to estimate or guesstimate, that's fine as well. Just be empowered and encouraged to complete this, because this is going to be essential to your planning for 2022. Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions or anything? All right. So then your plan for 2022, as we said, starting out, you're doing a 5-year plan overall, but then we're going to take that and break that down to your 1-year goal for 2022. Right? And then when you come and meet with me, we're going to break that down even further. And that's going to be the nature of our one-on-one. We're going to take your 1-year personal goals for your business plan, and we're going to break them down into what that needs to look like for you on a month-to-month basis in order for you to be able to attain that goal. Okay? So something that Mr. Porter said is very essential. He talked about setting goals that are very aggressive goals and just working on it, doing something small consistently every day toward that goal in order to meet that goal, guys. Okay, so I want you to be encouraged to know that although you're starting out with a 5-year goal and then you're moving on to a 1-year goal, you're not going to have to complete everything at once. It's just going to be one step at a time, one day at a time, one activity at a time, taking it in very small increments in order to get you to your year-end goal. All right, so this is where you're going to cast vision for 2022. This is where we are today. Your 2022 goals. How many days do you want to work? How many days would you like to prospect? How many contacts will you need to add to your book of business for this year? How many listing appointments would you like to take? How many total listings would you like to take this year? How many listings will you anticipate expiring? How many listings would you like to have sold, closed? What do you want your average sales price to be? What is your average commission check? What is your goal for that? These are some things that we want you guys to consider very thoughtfully, because as we went through in our series of prospecting, farming, targeted marketing, and all those things for last year, this is where you actually put those numbers so that you can dissect what you want your marketing strategy to look like and where you want your farm area to look like. Because as you consider, as you see on line items 15 and 16, your average sales price and your average sales commission, that's really going to help you to target your farm area, right? Because if in your farm area, the average sales price is 50, or 700,000, 400,000, whatever that is, that's going to be your average sales price. It's going to show you your average commission check. Then you'll know how many of those sales you're going to have closed in order to get to your income goal for 2022. All right. So think about these things, guys. Go through it. All right. Now, this is a very easy cheat sheet for you guys. Very easy cheat sheet for making it easy and breaking down the numbers. And we have purposefully left these numbers very conservative because the average sales price now is far above $300,000 in our area. It's over $400,000 in our area. So if you were to take this making it easy, breaking down the numbers sheet, and you were to simply consider the numbers that were on here, you would be well above 100K in your earnings for 2022. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments at this point? All right. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit because I'm going to ask you guys to walk us through this page. All right. So starting at the very beginning where you see the example, I need somebody to explain to the group what this example entails. So where you see the average sales price and so forth and so on. Do we have any volunteers? All right, then I'm going to call on somebody. Come on. Would you unmute yourself and just go through this example in the top of the page for us, please?
Okay, well, if I'm looking at the correct thing, which I think I am, so when it says average sale, you're talking about average sales price and breaking down the commission and all that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so at a 3% commission, and that's saying one side only, which means whether you're the buyer's agent or the listing agent, we're looking at $9,000 as far as total income. But of course, we have an 80% split that we're doing. So when you multiply the 80% of the 9,000, that's where you get the $7,200. Okay. And I know, of course, there are a couple of fees that we also have in there. But that's $7,200 that you can make on a average sales price of $300,000. And as Ms. Porter just said, the average sales price is a lot more than that. So your commission can be a lot higher than that, as well as we have a $795 fee that we charge, so that can be included in that as well, which makes it a lot easier to do $100,000. And really, it doesn't take 14 transactions. When I was doing the math, it doesn't take 14 transactions now at all because our numbers are higher.
You got it.
Right?
You had that was spot on. Excellent. So can anybody tell me, if you are the listing agent, is there any other number that could change within that equation to yield you a higher commission or year's earnings at the end of the year?
So this is Dee. If you're the listing agent, it's possible that the commission split might be different. You may have 3.5% or 4% commission that comes as a listing agent, whereas the buyer's agent might have 2.5% or 2%, and that depends on how you negotiate the commission as you're going through the process.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Dee. Dee just said something very important. I want for all of us to know that your commission is determined in advance by your buyer brokerage agreement and by your listing agreement, okay? So whether you're on the buyer side or not, your buyer's agent's commission is not based on what the seller is paying. So you could very well also have a 3.5% or 4% commission on the buying side. And we have had some successful transactions doing just that. I want you guys to be encouraged and empowered. Know that what you're doing is adding value to buyers and sellers. You're walking them through transactions and helping their real estate dreams to come true. So if you have a buyer brokerage agreement that has 3.5% and the seller is paying 2.5%, look at that. Your buyer only has to pay 1% sales commission to you, okay? So I just want to expand your thinking as it pertains to your overall income and how profitable you can actually be with your commission based on your brokerage agreements up front, okay?
I had if I could break in for a moment. I had a conversation yesterday with someone who had recently purchased, and she said that she had started out trying to do it herself, and after she realized after she had done the research for doing it herself, when she realized how much was involved and how many holes she could step in, she said she would be happy to pay a commission to somebody who knew the business, because she felt that it just wasn't worth it to do it herself and and make mistakes that would possibly cause her quite a bit of heartache for quite a bit of time. So I was really happy to hear that from somebody, because a lot of folks feel like they can just do it, and it's just not that simple.
You've said a mouthful, and I think we're going to have a whole Realty Talks around that subject alone. I want to continue going through this business plan. Otherwise, I could share just a whole transaction with you guys just based on that. And Mr. Porter, you know exactly what I'm talking about there. All right, so who wants to take the next part, breaking this down for us? If we needed to close 14 transactions, if somebody could take the next 2 lines for us. All right, let's see. Angela, do you want to take the next 2 lines for us?
Sure. Starting after the 14 transactions?
Yep, starting right there.
Okay. Well, in order to, I think this is based on if your goal is to earn 100,000 for the year, if the average commission that we would typically get is 7,200, we would need approximately 14 transactions in order to reach that goal of 100,000. It says here, since taking more listings is the recipe for success in real estate, the ratio should be 60 to 40. And since, well, I prefer listings, but since listings typically can bring us more transactions, it would make sense for 60% of those to come from listings. In this case, if we have 14 transactions, 60% would be 9 listings sold and 40% would be 5 on the buyer side sold. Shall I keep going?
Yes, keep going.
Okay. And then there's a ratio for every 2 listings you take, you sell 1. So in other words, to sell 9 listings, we would in essence have to take 18 listings so that we could meet that goal, that 60% goal of taking actually 9 listings that sell.
Excellent. Does anybody want to expound on the second paragraph that Angela just read with regards to listings being the recipe for success? Would anybody like to add anything to that? And Angela, you can certainly add to that as well. You prefer listings and there's a reason why.
Well, yeah, well, I was going to say that, yes, with listings though, I feel that, more transactions can come from that, whether it's open houses, you can find buyers that way. In addition to that, with your marketing, you could potentially get, more listings. If you're, marketing or targeting those homes or sellers around that particular listing. But I think in essence, when you have listings, it more likely will bring you additional sales, as opposed to just having, working on the buyer side. So there's a lot
Spot
more
on.
control there and can bring us more business.
That's correct. Anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, Miss Porter, when I first saw this and you were sharing this, as a matter of fact, last year, the 18 listings, that was, it was a little bit intimidating. Okay. And I know you have done trainings on how to get listings and the like. Because when I first started, and Mr. Porter first started me out to get my feet wet, I was doing buyers. I was a buyer's agent. And that trying to transition to listings, it's still a little bit difficult for me to try to figure out how I'm going to get up to that number. So I don't want you to digress on doing that right now, but if you could give one pointer that we could kind of take with us on getting listings and how to get a quick thing that's, to get our minds thinking about listings, it would really help me a lot.
I'm glad you asked that question. As we continue, it will definitely become clear to you.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Hey, Jasmine, I want to go back to the questions for Angela. If nobody's going to say what I know, what I think you might be talking about, because I think Curtis, he been around long enough. I was waiting to see if somebody else was going to say it.
Go ahead, Mr. Porter.
Listings, guys, listen. Listings are valuable, very valuable. Here's why. And I know that a lot of you have been trained, especially if you took your classes in Maryland, that you can't get both sides. But that's absolutely not true. You can get both sides. That's why listings are extremely important. And that's why that's part of the strategy for us, making sure that we train well on how to be a buyer's agent. Okay. Because if I get a listing and I can find having a buyer, I can't represent both of them in the state of Maryland. But Caramon can. So if I train Caramon to be a good buyer's agent, I'm gonna say, hey, Caramon, I got a buyer for this particular property that I'm also listing, but I need you to represent the buyer. That's happened so many times, and that's part of the biggest thing in having a listing. You can get both sides, and if the property and it depends on the type of the sale, you can actually sell that same property 3 or 4 times because you had the listing. I'm gonna be quiet now.
That is very true. So there's a way to do it. There's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. As Mr. Porter said, when you find the buyer as the listing agent, we can have somebody from the brokerage to represent the buyer, and you are able to get, more of your commission based on your agreement with that buyer. But there's another aspect that your agreement with that agent, but there's another aspect that Mr. Porter just included, and that's for investment properties, guys. We've done this so many times. You have an investment property, you help to sell the property, then chances are you're able to relist the property and then find the buyer for that one again. So you've sold that same property 3 times, or you've gotten 3 sales transactions off of that one property. So there are there are very many benefits of being the listing agent, starting with the fact that you get to negotiate the upfront commission with the seller. So if you negotiate a 7% commission, and as a listing agent, you negotiate your commission 4%, and so forth and so on, you've started out well above where we were talking about with that 3% at 9,000. So I just want to expand your thinking around this so that everything you look at, you see opportunities, and you reach out to us to have those conversations. Well, how can I maximize my opportunity in this situation? So those are just a few reasons to think about taking those listings there. Okay, guys?
Jasmine, could I add one more thing?
Sure.
And of course, I'm a buyer's advocate. But what I've learned, guys, is that the more buyers that I have, the more likely I am to have a buyer for my listing. That's why I love buyers too. So, hey.
Excellent. And then there are many of us that are licensed in DC or in Virginia where dual agency is allowed. So those are further conversations to be had. All right, guys, who wants to take the next paragraph for us? All right. Let's see. Dee, do you want to take the next paragraph for us?
Okay, so we're talking about the paragraph that says, since more listings, did we just do the since taking more listings is the recipe for success? No, we're on that. Okay, this ratio, the 2-to-1, this ratio means for every 2 listing appointments you go on, you'll list 1. Therefore, to take 16 listings, you'll need to go on to 36 listing appointments. So that is to ensure that you actually get the amount of listings that you project that you want. So if you are saying that you want to have 30, well, I'm not going to say 30 because that's a lot. Anyway, okay.
You don't have to
Porter,
explain it. Just read through it and I'll talk through it. So no
I
worries. I
see.
just want to get through this page.
I see this. Okay, so this ratio means for every 2 listing appointments you go on, you'll list 1. Therefore, to take 18 listings, you'll need to go on to 36 listing appointments.
All right, go to the next one as well.
The 5-to-1 ratio means that for every 5 leads you generate, you'll get an appointment. Therefore, to book 36 appointments, you'll need to generate 180 leads.
Read that one more time because that's very essential. I want for everybody to be aware of what NAR's projections of these numbers are.
Okay, so for the 5-to-1 ratio, it means that for every 5 leads you generate, you'll get 1 appointment. Therefore, to book 36 appointments, you'll need to generate 180 leads.
Excellent. And read that last one, the 12-to-1.
The 12-to-1 ratio means that for every 12 people you speak with, your contacts, you'll get a lead. So for every 12 people you speak with, you'll get a lead. Therefore, to generate 180 leads, you'll need to speak with 2,160 contacts. You'll need to have 2,160 contacts so that you can speak with 12 folks.
Start again. It's okay.
Okay.
That is a very important line. The 12
So
to 1.
The 12-to-1 ratio means for every 12 people you talk with, that's for every 12 contacts, you'll get 1 lead.
Pause
Therefore,
there. Pause there for just a moment. Pause there because I want to hone in on that. For every 12 people that you talk to, you're going to get a lead. What does that mean to you guys? I want to hear what your thoughts are about that. For every 12 people that you talk to, you're going to get a lead. What does that say to you?
You need to be talking.
Yeah, because what that
Means
says
you have to
is
adding people to your contacts.
Right.
I
Right.
want to, somebody else read that one more time. This is so key. For every how many people you talk to, you're going to get a lead?
For every 12 people you talk to, you're
For
going to get a
every how
lead.
many? How many?
12.
For every 12 people you talk to. So for every 12 people you
Dozen.
talk to, you are going to get a lead.
So like having a dozen eggs.
There you go.
Every
So if,
Go ahead.
so let me ask you guys this question. If I want to get a lead to list a property, what do I have to do? How many people do I have to talk to get a lead?
12.
Okay. So if I talk to 12 people, what's going to happen?
You're going to get a lead.
I want to make sure that's crystal clear, guys. I'm going to go over that thing as many times as possible because there is no secret to success in this regard. There's no magic to it. It's just hard numbers. And
It's
the
a
numbers
numbers game.
are what they are. It is a numbers game. And I want you guys to be very much encouraged to know that it's going to take you talking to 12 people to get a lead. And that's exactly what that process looks like. So when you get to the point where you're talking to 1 or 2 people and they're rushing past, be encouraged, because when you've gotten through the 12 people, you're going to have your lead. Okay. So be encouraged to know that it is a numbers game and you're looking for the yeses. You're looking for people to say, oh my goodness, Kermon, I'm so glad that you stopped me today. I actually do need help. I have a condo I need to sell. I have a house I need to sell. My, just getting married. I'm looking to buy a property. We just retired. We're looking to relocate. But the name of the game is doing what, guys?
Talking to people.
Talking to
Generate
people.
leads.
Talking to people.
Generating leads,
And,
yeah.
and how are we generating leads?
Mhm.
Talking to people.
Talking to people. I want to
It's
say
just that
it
simple.
again, guys.
It's really that simple. Hey, Jasmine,
It is.
let me
Go ahead.
let me jump in there, guys. So, this is so important. And we give you a ton of business cards, and basically we did the math so that if you gave away 10 business cards every day, the box would be gone at the end of the year. But that's feeding into that principle of just 10 business cards. But you've often heard me say, in addition to that, we set up the constant contact. So that's automatically going. In addition to that, I got Home Snap communicating for me. In addition, so all of these are leveraging instruments that's sending out information, constantly sending people information from me to them about real estate and reminding them that I do real estate. And then when they get a phone call, a random phone call from me, when you call in your sphere of influence between 5 and 6, 5 and 7, or whatever time of day you set up a time every day, just to call people that's in your contact list, just to say hello, check on them, especially now, see how their family's doing. You're going to hear a lot of stuff, and then you remind them at some point that you do real estate. It's like, hey, business been going well, had a lot of struggles, but I'm still, doing real estate, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get people that's going to start to talk to you about their real estate needs. They're going to remind you, hey, my cousin was just saying he was going to buy a house. He didn't even know where to start. I had a guy call me that I just called randomly. He said, my nephew just inherited or got a lawsuit, and he got $500,000 and he wants to buy a house and he doesn't know where to start. So just having conversations with people is tremendous. This is one of the most, this is a secret to success. I tell you, it's just talking to people, a lot of people every day. So if I talk to 10 to 15 people every day, I'm getting a lead every single day.
And that is exactly where we're going. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Porter. That is so powerful, yet so simple. Simply talking to people every day is all you need to do. If you didn't have a single business card, if you didn't have a constant contact, if you didn't have a Home Snap, if you didn't have anything, if you simply had your phone, or you could go out, or however you want to communicate with people, simply talking to people every single day will absolutely get you real estate leads for listings and for buyers. All right. I want somebody to take this last paragraph and the most important sentence on that page. Who wants to take that?
I can take it. Are we starting with if you take 4 weeks or, okay. If you take 4 weeks of vacation this year, 1 per quarter, that leaves 11 months left for business. Also, since you might only want to work 20 days a month, that leaves 220 working days for the year, 11 months times 20. When you divide the 2160 contacts into the 220 working days, that equals 10 contacts a day.
That is so powerful. Pause right there for a minute, guys. Tell me what you hear in what Rhonda just read to us. What does that mean to you?
Excuse me. So this is Anita. So
Hello, Anita.
how's everyone?
Great.
This goes back to what Mr. Porter just spoke about regarding the 10, passing out the 10 business cards a day. And so when you break it down like that, if you are diligent about, and it's not even really 10 business cards a day, not even 365 days a week, because you're taking 365 days a year, because you are you know, taking vacation, you're not working 7 days a week. So if you're only working the 220 days out of the year, and if you are in those 220 days passing out the 10, you know, having contact and speaking real estate in some way to 10 people that you give those business cards to, then you should be able to reach your goal.
Excellent. Does this paragraph say anything else to you guys? Does somebody see something that would be helpful to illuminate?
Good afternoon. This is Joy.
Hello,
the
Joy.
Hello. The takeaway for me is that it shows that you can have a work-life balance and still be able to achieve the 10 contacts per day.
Spot on.
So my question is, so when you're talking about having 10 contacts a day, we're talking about actually talking to people, not leaving messages or you know, sending text messages or anything like that? Or how do we achieve those 10 contacts?
So this is specifically talking about having conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
However, I want to be very clear that the other forms of communication are highly effective as well. So your text message communication is hugely effective. So you can absolutely do it that way. But this is simply having conversations with people. So whether it's on the phone, whether it's on FaceTime, whether it's out at the grocery store, gas station, at work, or wherever you are, this is having conversations with people. Okay. Does anybody else see anything in that paragraph? Joy, what you said was so spot on. You, Anitha, as well. That this, I don't want to share with you guys. I want to see what you think about that.
Okay, well, one of the things that I can tell you, Ms. Porter, is this is what people call reduction to the ridiculous. And that's the term that's used for it. And what it simply means is that you reduce it down to a level where you cannot help but do it. And you see it a lot of times when you see ads, when people are asking you to give money to a cause, and they'll say it's, you know, $19 a month, that's only 30 some odd cents a day or whatever. So it takes it to all the way down to a level that you cannot help but do. So you can almost fall into this. And the thing that I had to realize was that's 10 contacts a day. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. Because I was thinking, okay, I got to go out and give out 10 cards, talk to 10 people. But you can give out 3 cards. You can talk to 3 people on the phone, and you can run across 3 other people when you're doing your regular calling. And then you can get 3 people or 2 people from your constant contact. So it's a lot of different ways that you can add up to the 10 a day. Because if you tell yourself, well, I got to go out here, and I got to go out here and I got to talk to 10 people, that puts a pressure on yourself where people won't continue to do it. But if you realize that you have so many different ways that you can contact 10 people, it makes it a lot easier, and it's not as stressful with you thinking, I got to do it this way. So that's what it's happened for me. And I will say this is something I just got, and it's really changing my life. And it just changed 2 words, if I may say. I was saying, I got to go out here and do this, and I got to go out here and do that. And what I did was, and I heard someone say this, I changed 1 word to, I get to go out and do this. And I get to go out and do that. Changed my whole thinking of it, because at first it was almost like drudgery. Now it's like something I can get excited and look forward to. So I get to go out and talk to 10 people every day. I don't gotta go out and talk to 10. I get to go out and talk to 10 people. So I hope that helps someone like it helped me, because that's really changed me for 2022.
Thank you for sharing that, Kerman. One of the things that I'll say, guys, is with what we do, our conversations from this perspective, we want to make sure that, well, first of all, what Kerman said, we get to have conversations with people. We get to initiate a transaction by merely having a conversation that's going to end up changing somebody's life. because they'll then end up being able to purchase their first home, their dream home, their retirement home, selling a home, or whatever the case is. We get to have the careers that we dream about having by merely having a conversation, right? We don't have to go and, haul a 100-pound, heavy something on our back and push it all the way up a mountain. We simply open our mouths and we have a conversation. That being said, I want to ensure that we are empowered and encouraged to know that this needs to be a very active form of conversation and not a passive form of conversation. So yes, you can absolutely have phone calls with people, you can meet people face to face, and you can text people. That's the type of conversation that this paragraph lends itself to, versus the passive version of conversation, which is how you nurture your book of business. But in order to generate those leads and to get people, added to your book of business, you want to make sure that you are doing active versions of what that looks like. So you're having those conversations so that people know. And this is the perfect time of the year to do it. Because we're in 2022 now, this is the perfect time to call everybody in your phone so that you can connect with them, connect with people on social media, connect with people in any arena that you can, so that you are building your book of business, right? That being said, we have.
This is all. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
This is also a good time, guys, and I tell you guys every year to send out your text message. Hey, I'm updating my contacts. I want to make sure that I have a good email for you, and I don't know if I have your birthday. Please send me your birthday, and just cut and paste that to everybody in your contact list. And I remember a person that was afraid to send that message out to every person in their contact list. So I just asked them if they wanted me to take their phone and do it for them when they first came to Porterhouse. And they were so scared. And I pushed that button. People started getting just responded. And he started having conversations after conversations with so many people. And that's how you have to do it, guys. You got to get past the fear of just communicating. I get to call and talk to people that I haven't spoken to in years. Every year, I get to reach out to them. And it's almost like they know why I'm calling now. Some of them, they know why I'm calling. I've been doing it for so many years. So it's really good. And then to send them something on their birthday, an email or a text message or what have you, it's a really great thing to do. So this is a perfect time of the year to update your contacts, because what you're going to do is go into constant contact and add those people to your list, put them on a campaign drip, set up their birthday communication. And then you want to do that through all of your media, home snap, and everywhere else that you can add the information and update it. You want to make sure you have the best information for people.
Excellent. Thank you for contributing that, Mr. Porter. The very last sentence on this page, I want somebody to go ahead and read that. I think it was, were you reading, Miss Anita? If so,
It
take
was
us
that-
away. Oh, it was Rhonda? Go ahead.
At 8 to 12 contacts per hour, that equates to 1 to 1.5 hours of daily prospecting to achieve $100,000 in earnings this year.
What does that say to everybody?
It says to me, if you put in the work, you'll produce a harvest. That's what it says to me.
It is absolutely doable.
Anybody else? You guys are
The other
spot
thing
on.
is, the
Go
other
ahead.
thing it says to me is, when it seems like when you sit up here and think about, 2,160 contacts, or, some of those other larger numbers, it helps to put it more into perspective, and it doesn't seem that hard of a meal to tackle when you kind of break it down. If you pretty much do an hour to an hour and a half of some type of contacting, whether it's calling someone, whether it's actually being out, passing out your cards, but in some way if you're putting in the work almost daily, you know, obviously you take your days off whenever, whatever those days are, but it just lets me know that if you're consistent with putting in the time daily, it and you're doing it all, you know, every day, year round, pretty much, then each day doesn't seem as hard. Because once you kind of lag behind, say if you don't do anything for January and February, or even if January, it just seems like now going forward, you're like playing catch up. So if you kind of started off, you know, at the top of the year, then it'll be kind of smooth sailing the whole year and you won't be as stressed. So that's what it's saying to me.
Thank you for sharing that, Rhonda. I want to pull together what we've talked about on this page because you guys have done a tremendous job in pulling out all the key points. Something that I heard Joy say, what this does, in addition to what you've all shared, it shows that there is work-life balance built into this plan. Because for only 220 working days of the year and only 10 contacts per day, you will exceed your goal of 100K in sales. You will exceed that goal for only 220 working days. And I say 220 on purpose because any of us, if you feel like you have to do something every single day, like Herman said, you'll start to, dread it a little bit, like, oh my gosh, I got to do this every day. It'll start to feel like it's, it'll feel overwhelming, but this is not at all every single day. This is something you get to take 4 weeks of vacation, and it's only saying you work 20 days a month during the times when you're not taking vacation for only 1 to 1.5 hours per day during those 20 days per month. Okay.
Jasmine, if I can add to that, I mean, if you really think about it, and I'm speaking to myself included, because I didn't really do all the things that I should have been doing last year in 2021, if I'm being very transparent. But trust me, this is the year progression. That's totally going to change. But the one thing I wanted to add to that is you really can get creative, because we're saying an hour to an hour and a half daily. But let's just say you have a day that, for those of us, even if we have a regular 9 to 5 job, let's just say, I get home at 5:30 and I have absolutely nothing to do for the rest of that evening. If I want to turn that hour to an hour and a half into 2 or 3 hours, those times that you do that can also matter, and that can lessen the amount of days that you really have to do it. So you can get creative with your time slots. If it's a Saturday and you feel like you want to put in 5 hours, I mean, this is just a guide. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that we have to stick to that hour to an hour and a half. We could do more on any given day. So I just wanted to add that as well.
You are absolutely right. You can do more. So whether you're dual career or whether you're full time, the point there is to know that this is doable. This is obtainable. You can absolutely do it. Every last one of us can do it, because all it's saying is be specific with your goals. And you know what? I'm going to go back up this page because I want to make this business plan easy for everybody to do. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh my gosh, I got to do this business plan again. I'm dreading having to complete it. So let's do this. For those of you, if your goal is 100K in sales, take every piece from this page that says breaking down the numbers, and I want you to simply add it to this page where it says 2022 business goals. Now, I'm being very intentional with saying add it to that page and not just print out this page, because I want it to be your own writing or your own typing, because I want this to be something that you on purpose say, this is how many days I want to work in 2022. I want to work 220 days. I want to prospect those 220 days. I want to have, what was it, 2,160 contacts. I want to have, whatever the listing appointments were. Take those numbers from that making it easy, breaking down a numbers page, and plug it in here and allow that to be your business goal for 2022. Now, for those of you that are, beyond, aiming for 100K and you want to be a lot more aggressive, you can double the numbers. Whatever you want to do, I want you to be very specific and be empowered to use those numbers, even if you have to double them and put them into this page where it says your business plan goals, right? Okay, and that's how we're going to start with your business plan goals for this year. That being said, to speak to something that Rhonda just said, you have examples of daily schedules, right? Because a part of our plan is planning that actual hour to an hour and a half of prospecting, right? Anything can happen on a daily basis. But if you time block and you say, okay, well, you know, I have some flexibility between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., or I have flexibility between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. I have flexibility between 1 and 3, whatever that looks like. It's going to vary from person to person, and that it's normal. But go ahead and time block for your prospecting on those days so that you ensure that you have carved out the time so that no matter what else comes up in your day, you've been able to complete your prospecting. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Because I'm going to stop right there for today and we will pick this up next week. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or anything that they'd like to add? And I have something very important to announce once we finish this conversation.
Well, I just want to say this to you guys. It's, Rhonda, you said a mouthful. It's much easier than you think it is. And if you guys want to take this challenge, I just challenge you today to send out this text message. Say, hey, family, exclamation point, just checking on you. Just send that out to 12, 13 people. See what kind of response you get. That's enough. Just start the spark. Just start the conversations. Just send that text message out. Make those phone calls. Leave the message. Just calling to check on you. Hope all is well. This is Porter. Call me back. You'll be surprised. I did it yesterday. Got a phone call. Young lady said, Porter, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried to sell my home, but somebody else couldn't do it. Just didn't work out. Can you sell my home? Oh, by the way, I have another home too.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking on you. Hope all is well. Simple. Start the conversations, guys, and make it a habit every single day to do the same thing. And then it's not work. I get to do that. I get to check on people. I get to say hello. All right. And there's something else I wanted to say, Jasmine. I don't know if you want to say, you want me to say it.
You can go ahead.
While we have people on the line. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to say to everybody that, you know, today is a special day. And while we got a special person on the line, we want to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Kermon.
Payton.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Happy birthday, Kermon.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Oh, boy. You guys
Happy
are something.
birthday.
Thank you so. Listen, I was so excited getting so much in this. I forgot all about that. I'm thinking about how I can get 10 people and get my cards out and do all this stuff, man, because I got to get rolling in 2022. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. You know, we couldn't go without wishing you a happy birthday.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Look, I love my Porterhouse family. I love all you guys. You're the greatest group of people that, you know, I've ever been associated with. Everybody is so wonderful, and I just love the way everybody reaches out for everybody's birthday and things that I've never experienced that in any other business opportunity I've been in. So I thank you so much.
And we thank you too. We love you too, brother Kermon. And I would just say this for those of you that don't know, you know, Kermon and I have a special bond. And Kermon, one day I'll let him tell the story about how we met. But I met Kermon. Kermon, was you a real estate agent when I met you?
No.
Did I sit down and have a conversation with you and didn't know who you were? I said, who's this guy? Think he's sharp like me. He had an okay looking suit on, but you know, I said, okay. And so I sat down and I was at a place that I really didn't want to go to that day, but I said, I get to go, I get to hang out. And we went and I met this gentleman and we just sat down and talked. Nothing in particular, just talk. had a lot of things in common. And next thing I know, he was like, I think I need to get a real estate license. I said, all right. And I sent them the information. And he really did it. Now he's with Porterhouse and he's an awesome person. But it's just talking to people. It's just talk. We had a call yesterday after we put a listing on. The lady called to say, y'all bought us dinner. Y'all paid for my family's dinner. And I have a buyer for the property that you just listed. We like, who are you? We don't remember it, but it's just talking to people. That if you become really intentional about just not even trying to sell Porterhouse or sell real estate, but you just talk to people. People need your connection. And who's a potential client? Every single person you meet. My mom is a potential client. My dad is a potential client. Every person I meet is a potential client, but I keep that in my background because I really care about people. And I want you guys to really care about people and start talking to people. We need each other, guys. That's all I wanted to say. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you so much again. And you were really on it. That's exactly how we met. That's exactly how we connected. It was a conversation, had nothing to do with real estate, but it was something that just connected our spirits. And out of that, this real estate thing was born. And I will tell you, and I'll tell everybody, it really has changed my life. That one conversation, I hadn't planned on it, but it has changed my life. And the rest is history. So thank you so much.
And his wife likes me more now too. So
Oh man, please.
Because I always make sure that Caramon does really nice things for his wife. Like I'm gonna call her and tell her what you need to do for her on your birthday. I'm gonna call her.
Yeah, you need to stop that, okay? Because you're making me work very, very hard. You're making me work very hard. I just want you to know.
Remember, you get to do those things.
You get to do it, Caramon. You get to do stuff for your wife.
Yeah.
Right.
I get to do it, man. I get to do it. And she reminds me that I get to do it. So, okay.
That's awesome.
Yes, indeed.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking around until the end. We wanted to celebrate Herman. We know that we have quite a number of you that have January birthdays. We love you all. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about as it pertains to the business plan today, give me a call. Call us. Let's walk through it. Let's talk about it. We want you to be empowered to complete it so that you are able to have a very successful 2022. This is the year of progression. So we're looking forward to progressing in everything that we do. All right, guys, we're here for you.
And let me just say this real quick before you go, Jasmine. Guys, if you, I don't want to miss anybody's birthday. We think we have everybody in place, but just text me your birthday, your month, and your date. You don't have to tell me the year unless you want to, but month and day, just so that we can make sure we update our list. Okay, guys? That's it.
A very
Just
quick question as well, please. Well,
say that again.
A very quick question. The business plans, is that in Brokerment?
Yes, it's right in Brokerment. I'll show you where the new
It's
one
on
is.
Didn't you put it in the updates?
Yes, it's in the dashboard. So I will show you how to access it easily. So in Brokerment, you see your dashboard right here. If you click right there, we made it easy for you. So it'll take you directly to your 2022 agent business plan. And then your SMART goal action planner is right up under it.
Okay, thank you.
You are so welcome. Definitely. I'm going to end the recording there for today, but I'll hang on for a few moments in case anybody has any additional questions. Thank you guys for sticking in there and joining us today for training. I know that there's quite a bit going on, but you guys were diligent to come on training for today. So until next week for Realty Talks, have a great day.